When you're faced with disrespect, the first thing you have to understand is that your response is everything. It's not about what they said or how they said it, but how you choose to react. That's where your power lies. In those moments when someone tries to get under your skin, the real strength is in staying quiet. It's easy to lash out. It's easy to let the words of others dictate your actions. But real power comes from control. You don't let anyone else control your emotions. You decide how you respond. Now, I know it's not easy. Trust me, I've been there. In fact, everyone has. We've all had moments where we felt disrespected, misunderstood, or outright wronged. And in those moments, every fiber of your being wants to react. You want to speak out, defend yourself, prove them wrong. But in that moment of heated emotion, we don't always make the best choices. Reacting from a place of anger or frustration only fuels the fire. It escalates the situation. It doesn't resolve anything. It doesn't make you feel better. And often it leaves you with regrets. The real question is, do you want to be controlled by someone else's words, or do you want to take control of your own peace? That's the decision you need to make. Because if you can stay quiet, if you can control that initial rush of emotion and choose silence, you're choosing to keep your peace. You're choosing to let them know without saying a word that their attempt to disturb you won't succeed. What you're really doing when you stay quiet is taking a step back and creating space. You're removing yourself from the chaos. You're not giving them the satisfaction of seeing you react the way they expect you to. When you remain silent, you take a moment to center yourself and think. You remind yourself that you don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to prove yourself to everyone who doubts or disrespects you. Silence gives you the power to regain control, not just over the situation, but over yourself. And here's the thing, people who disrespect you, they want a reaction. They want to see you stumble. They want to see you lose your composure, because in their minds, they think that'll make them feel better. It'll make them feel bigger, more important, but that's not your job. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You know who you are, you know what you stand for, and that doesn't change because of someone else's words. When you react, you're letting them win. When you stay quiet, you win. You're not fighting their battle, you're fighting your own. You're protecting your peace, your dignity, and your worth. That's what matters. It's not about shutting people down or getting revenge. It's about standing tall without ever having to say a word. Your silence becomes your response. It speaks volumes about your strength, your maturity, and your self-control. Now, I know some of you are sitting there thinking, but if I don't say something, won't they think they can walk all over me? Let me tell you something. Silence is not weakness. It is power. You don't have to shout to be heard. You don't have to engage in every argument. People will respect you more when they see you control yourself. They'll respect you more when they see that you don't need their approval to stand tall. And those who don't respect your silence, they were never worth your energy in the first place. Think about it like this. Every time you choose silence instead of reacting, you're building a muscle. It's a muscle of emotional strength. It's not easy, but over time you'll find that it gets easier. You'll find that the more you choose silence, the less power those negative moments will have over you. The less they'll affect you. It's a choice you make every single day, and every time you make that choice, you grow stronger. But here's the thing about silence. It doesn't mean you're passive. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strategic. You're thinking long term. You understand that by holding back your words now, you're not giving away your power. You're reserving your energy for something more important, something that truly deserves your time and attention. So when you choose to stay quiet, it's not because you don't have a voice. It's because you know when it's time to speak, you'll speak with purpose. You'll speak with impact. And that, my friend, is where the real power lies. So next time you face disrespect, remember this. The strength you need is in your silence. Don't let anyone else steal your peace. Don't let their negativity affect your journey. Stay quiet, stay centered, and keep moving forward. Let your silence be your answer, and watch how much power you have when you choose to hold on to your peace. Be quiet when they disrespect you. Stay quiet. And watch how it changes everything. In those moments when disrespect hits you, when someone tries to tear you down with their words or actions, don't just react. Don't fall into the trap of letting their negativity control you. Instead, take a step back. Reflect. That's right. Reflect. Because in that space of silence, in that moment of stillness, you gain control. You don't just react in the heat of the moment. You use that moment to evaluate the situation and make sure you don't let it define you. This isn't about letting the disrespect slide. It's about understanding the bigger picture. It's about recognizing that not everything deserves a response. And in that brief pause, you're not weak or passive. You're making a choice to see the situation with clear eyes, to separate yourself from the chaos, and really think about how to handle it in the best way possible. So before you say anything, before you let your emotions take over, you give yourself that space to reflect and reset your mindset. Now, in that moment of reflection, you ask yourself some important questions. Why does this matter? Why am I letting this person's words or actions affect me? Is it worth my energy? Is this the battle I need to fight right now? Or is it a distraction? More often than not, the answer is that it's not worth it. You realize that in the grand scheme of things, this disrespect is small, it's fleeting, but your peace, your mental health, your focus on your goals, that's bigger. That's worth protecting. When you take that moment to reflect, you stop the cycle of negativity before it can take root. You don't just jump into defense mode trying to justify yourself or fight back. Instead, you pause, you think, and you choose how you want to handle it. You realize that by responding out of anger or frustration, you're only sinking to their level. But by taking a step back, you rise above it. You protect your inner peace. You protect your energy. Reflection also gives you clarity. It helps you put things into perspective. Disrespect often comes from a place of insecurity, misunderstanding, or even projection. It's not always about you. Sometimes people lash out because they're hurting because they don't know how to deal with their own problems. And when you reflect on that, it helps you detach from the situation. You stop taking it personally. You recognize that their words say more about them than they do about you. And in that moment, you're free. You're free from the need to justify yourself or explain yourself to someone who doesn't value you. Reflection isn't just about understanding the situation, no, it's about understanding yourself. It's about asking yourself why you're reacting the way you are. Why does this affect you so much? Is it because you care too much about what other people think? Is it because you've been carrying unresolved feelings or past wounds that this situation is triggering? Reflection helps you dig deep into your own heart and soul. And when you do that, you start to heal. You start to realize that the power to control how you feel is in your hands. You don't need others to validate you or make you feel worthy. You've already got that within you. And that's the beauty of reflection. It gives you clarity, not only on how to respond, but on how to grow. Every time someone disrespects you, it's an opportunity to grow. You get to decide whether you'll let that moment break you or whether you'll use it to become stronger. When you reflect, you can choose growth. You can choose to take that disrespect and turn it into fuel for your journey. It doesn't have to stop you in your tracks. It doesn't have to hold you back. Instead, it can propel you forward. Think about it. When you respond impulsively, you're reacting to the moment, letting emotions take over and cloud your judgment. But when you reflect first, you're operating from a place of wisdom. You're making decisions that are aligned with your goals and values, not just your immediate emotional state. You see the bigger picture. You recognize that you're not here to engage in every petty argument. You're here to grow, to rise above, to move forward. And when you reflect, you ensure that you don't get caught up in distractions. Now, I know there will be times when the disrespect is hard to ignore, when it cuts deep and shakes you to your core. But this is where your strength lies. This is where your emotional intelligence comes into play. When you reflect, you recognize that your emotions don't have to control you. You're in charge. You don't have to let this situation define you or derail your progress. You can pause, reflect, and then respond from a place of peace, from a place of power, instead of reacting out of hurt or anger. Reflection gives you the opportunity to choose the best response, whether that's silence, walking away, or addressing the issue calmly and with respect. But either way, you're making a decision that keeps you in control of your emotions, your actions, and your peace. And when you do that, you hold the power. The disrespect doesn't hold you. You hold yourself. So the next time you're disrespected, don't rush to react. Pause, reflect, and in that reflection, find clarity, strength, and wisdom. You have the ability to rise above it, to see things for what they are, and to choose peace. That's the real power. Let me tell you something. When you're disrespected, staying quiet is not just about being passive or letting things slide. It's about showing yourself the respect you deserve. When you choose silence in the face of disrespect, you're not letting anyone trample over your dignity. You're making a conscious decision to maintain your worth, to protect your peace, and to keep your integrity intact. In the heat of the moment, it's tempting to respond, to defend yourself, to prove them wrong, to make sure they understand just how wrong they are, but you don't need to do that. You don't need to defend yourself to anyone. Your worth isn't dependent on how someone else sees you. It's not dependent on their approval or validation. It's something you carry with you no matter what others say. When you stay quiet, you're choosing to honor that worth. You see, when people disrespect you, they're trying to diminish you. They want to get a reaction. They want to poke at your pride. They want to make you feel small. And if you give them that reaction, if you let them see you lose your composure, they've won. They've taken your peace, your power, your energy. But when you stay quiet, you take that power back. You show them without saying a word that you know who you are. You know what you stand for. And no one's words can take that away from you. In the world we live in today, it's easy to feel like you have to prove yourself to everyone. You feel like you have to show up, speak out, fight back, and make sure that people know you won't be disrespected. But here's the truth. You don't need to do any of that. You don't need to argue or fight for your word. Your silence, your ability to remain calm in the face of disrespect speaks volumes. It shows strength. It shows maturity. It shows that you know exactly who you are and you don't need validation from anyone. Think about it. When you speak back out of anger or frustration, you're giving your energy away. You're engaging in a battle that doesn't even belong to you. You're wasting your time and emotions on someone who doesn't deserve it. But when you stay quiet, you reserve your energy for things that truly matter. You don't need to fight battles that don't align with your purpose. Your time is too valuable for that. And when you stay silent, you send a message that you know this. You know that your time, your energy, and your peace are worth more than any petty argument or insult. The beauty of silence is that it's not passive. It's active, it's a choice, and that choice is powerful. When you choose silence, you're not backing down. You're standing your ground in a way that shows you don't need to engage in conflict to make your point. You're saying, I don't need to argue with you to prove I'm right. I know who I am, and that's enough. That's strength. That's confidence. You don't need anyone else's approval to feel good about yourself. You don't need to lower yourself to their level to prove you're worthy. Your silence is enough to show that you respect yourself. And here's the thing. When you stay quiet, you're also giving yourself space. Space to breathe. Space to think. Space to remember your work and get back to your purpose. When you don't engage, when you don't let someone's words or actions distract you, you're able to focus on what really matters. You're able to refocus your energy on your goals, your growth, and the things that will help you move forward. The people who disrespect you don't deserve your attention. Your attention belongs to your dreams, your mission, and the life you're building. Every time you choose silence over reacting, you're teaching others how to treat you. You're setting boundaries. You're saying, I'm not going to engage in negativity, and I'm not going to let anyone else's issues affect me. And when you do that, people start to recognize that you're not the person they can walk all over. You become someone who commands respect Not because you demand it, but because you show it through your actions. Sometimes when people disrespect you, they're testing your boundaries. They're looking for a response. They want to see if they can break you, if they can get a rise out of you. But when you stay quiet, you show them that you're not the one to test. You show them that you're in control, that your peace isn't up for grabs, and that you won't stoop to their level just to make a point. Now, don't get me wrong. Staying quiet doesn't mean you let disrespect go unchecked. If someone's treating you badly, you don't have to stay silent forever. But there's a time and place for everything. Sometimes silence is the most powerful way to stand up for yourself. Sometimes you don't need to say anything at all. Your silence can speak louder than any words, louder than any argument, because it says that you know your worth and you won't let anyone take that from you. So the next time someone disrespects you, remember this. Your silence is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It's a sign that you respect yourself enough to protect your peace, to reserve your energy, and to keep moving forward without getting caught up in negativity. Stay quiet. Let your silence show your strength. Let your silence show the world that you don't need anyone's approval to be who you are. Your worth is already solid, already unshakable, and no one can take that from you. You've got to understand one thing when it comes to disrespect. Your energy is precious. It's one of the most valuable things you have. Every single day, you're given a limited amount of energy, and you decide where you're going to spend it. The question is, are you going to waste it on people who don't respect you, people who only want to drag you into their drama and negativity, or are you going to save it for things that truly matter? The choice is yours. I'm telling you, there's a whole world of things you could be focusing on. There are dreams to chase, goals to achieve, growth to experience, relationships to build, and a future to create. But when you let someone's disrespect distract you, you're handing over your energy to something that doesn't deserve it. You're giving them control over how you feel, over how you react, and over how you spend your precious time. When you stay quiet, you take your power back. You choose to conserve that energy and direct it towards something that will move you forward. Think about the last time someone disrespected you. How much time did you spend thinking about it? How much energy did you waste getting upset, replaying the situation in your head, feeling hurt or angry? I tell you, if you let that moment consume you, you're not doing yourself any favor. You're allowing someone else's words or actions to control your emotional state. And that, my friend, is a battle you don't need to fight. Staying quiet is one of the best ways to save your energy. It's a way to resist the temptation to engage in pointless arguments and drama. When you don't react, you protect your mental and emotional resources. You keep your focus sharp and your energy directed toward the things that truly matter, the things that will help you grow, succeed, and move forward. Don't waste your time and emotions on battles that won't get you anywhere. Focus on your vision, your dreams, and your goals. That's where your energy should be invested. Here's the truth. When you engage in disrespect, when you let it get under your skin, you're draining your energy. And let me tell you, energy is one of the few things that's truly irreplaceable. You can make more money, you can get more things, but you can't get back time and energy once they're spent. And if you waste your energy on people who disrespect you, on negativity that doesn't add value to your life, you're robbing yourself of the ability to create, to grow, and to become the person you're meant to be. You're giving away your strength without even realizing it. Every time you get upset or try to fight back against disrespect, you're throwing your energy away. You're using it on something that doesn't move you forward. You're engaging in a battle that won't bring you any closer to your purpose. The only thing you're doing is feeding into their negativity. They've already won because they've gotten you to react. But when you stay quiet, when you resist the urge to engage, you win. You keep your energy for yourself, for your future, for the things that matter. Let me tell you something. When you choose to save your energy, you start to notice something amazing. You start to feel lighter. You start to feel like you're in control again, like you are taking charge of your life instead of letting the world drag you around. You realize that the power was in your hands all along. It wasn't about what they said or did. It was about how you responded, or rather, how you didn't respond. When you protect your energy, You protect your peace. You stop letting the negativity of others seep into your life and affect your mental state. You start creating a space where only positivity and progress can thrive. The more you save your energy, the more you can invest in things that help you grow, whether it's building your career, working on your personal development, or nurturing relationships with people who value and uplift you. By saving your energy, you allow yourself to focus on the things that truly matter. And let's talk about growth for a second. The more energy you save, the more room you have to grow. It's like taking a deep breath and clearing out the clutter. The less you spend on fighting negativity, the more you have to invest in becoming the best version of yourself. You can't build the life you want if you're constantly drained by other people's drama. You can't reach your potential if you're stuck trying to prove yourself or fight battles that don't deserve your attention. But when you save your energy and focus on what matters, you create the space for real growth to happen. You start to realize that it's not about what others think of you or whether they disrespect you. It's about what you're doing with your time and energy. You can't control what others do, but you can control how you react. And when you choose to save your energy, when you choose to focus on the things that matter, you create the conditions for success in your life. You allow yourself to grow into the person you were meant to be. So next time you're disrespected, remember this. Don't waste your energy on things that don't matter. Don't waste your time fighting battles that won't move you forward. Instead, choose to save your energy for what truly matters: your goals, your growth, your peace, and your future. Don't give away your power. Keep your focus where it belongs and protect the energy that will propel you toward your destiny. That's how you win. You've got to realize something about disrespect. It's often a test. People want to see how much you can take, how much you'll tolerate. But here's the real truth. Staying quiet doesn't mean you're weak. It means you've learned how to control your emotions and reactions. It means you've developed the strength to rise above the chaos, not be dragged down by it. When you choose silence in the face of disrespect, you're sending a clear message. You're not interested in fighting petty battles. Focus on something bigger. Let me tell you something. Life will throw all kinds of challenges at you, and disrespect is just one of those obstacles. It's going to happen. People are going to test you. They're going to push your buttons. They're going to say things to try and throw you off course. But if you're always reacting to every little thing, if you're constantly getting caught up in every confrontation, you'll never be able to move forward. You'll never be able to focus on what really matters. The key is not reacting. The key is realizing that every test, every moment of disrespect is an opportunity for you to show your true strength. When you choose silence, you're choosing growth. You saying, I've been through too much. I've come too far to let this moment define me. When you stay calm and composed, when you don't let disrespect knock you off your course, you show yourself just how much you've grown. You show that you're not the person you used to be. You're no longer the person who reacts out of emotion, out of anger, out of frustration. You're the person who understands that your true power lies in your ability to remain calm, to stay focused, and to move forward despite the distractions. You see, every time someone disrespects you, you have a choice. You can react and let them pull you into their drama, or you can stay calm and let their words or actions slide off of you. The choice is yours. But it's in that moment of silence, that moment of restraint, that you show what you're really made of. It's in that space that you prove to yourself and to the world that you don't need to engage with negativity. You don't need to get involved in the petty games that people play. You've got bigger things to focus on. This is the test. And passing this test is about more than just showing others that you're not bothered by their disrespect. It's about showing yourself how much you've grown, how much you've learned, and how much stronger you've become. It's about proving that you've developed the emotional maturity to understand that some battles just aren't worth fighting. It's about realizing that you don't have to argue or fight to make a point. Your peace, your growth, your success, it speaks for itself. And the beauty of it is when you pass this test, you start to feel more powerful. The more you resist the urge to react, the more you prove to yourself that you're in control. You start to realize that you don't need anyone else's approval. You don't need to fight for respect. Your silence, your ability to remain composed in the face of disrespect becomes your superpower. It's not about being passive. It's about being strategic. It's about choosing your battles wisely and understanding that you have the power to decide what deserves your energy and what doesn't. When you choose silence, you're also giving yourself the gift of time. You're giving yourself a moment to step back, to gain perspective, to avoid making a decision based on emotion. You give yourself the space to think clearly, to choose a response that aligns with your goals and values, not just your immediate emotional reaction. The key here is that you don't rush into anything. You don't let the moment control. The real test is in how you carry yourself after the disrespect happens. It's in how you choose to react or not react in the hours and days that follow. If you let it linger, if you continue to replay it in your mind, if you let it fester and consume you, then you've allowed it to win. But if you let it go, if you move forward with your head high and your focus on your goals, then you've passed the test. You've shown that you're not going to let anything, no matter how hurtful or disrespectful, hold you back. Think about it. Every time you rise above disrespect, you become stronger. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you build emotional resilience. And every time you choose to stay focused on your purpose instead of getting distracted by negativity, you move closer to your goals. This is how you grow. This is how you evolve. And this is how you show the world that you're not someone to be underestimated. You're someone who knows their worth, who has the strength to rise above, and who is committed to their journey no matter what. So remember this, every time you're disrespected, it's a test. It's an opportunity for you to prove to yourself how much you've grown. It's a chance to show your strength, your emotional intelligence, and your ability to rise above. The more you pass these tests, the more you build a life that's focused on your growth, your peace, and your success. And that's how you win. When you're disrespected, there's a natural reaction that we all feel. Anger, frustration, that deep urge to speak up, to defend yourself, to prove that you're not someone to be taken lightly. But here's the thing. You've got to recognize that responding from that place of anger is a trap. It's a trap that pulls you into a cycle of negativity, a cycle that only keeps you stuck in the moment, replaying the hurt and feeding into the disrespect. You've got to break that cycle, and one of the best ways to do that is through silence. Let me tell you, the person who disrespects you isn't worth your emotional energy. The person who's trying to get a rise out of you isn't worth you losing your peace over. You can't let their words or actions control your emotional state. You've got bigger goals, bigger dreams, and you can't afford to let some moment of disrespect throw you off track. Every time you let anger take over, you're letting that moment control you. But when you stay silent, when you don't react from that place of anger, you're taking back control. You're saying, I refuse to let this moment dictate my peace. I refuse to let anyone else's negativity derail me from my purpose. Here's the hard truth. You can't control what other people do. You can't control how they treat you, what they say, or how they behave. But what you can control is how you respond. And when you choose silence, when you choose not to engage with anger, you're showing just how much power you have over yourself. You're showing that you don't need to react in order to prove something. You don't need to fight back to yell to get loud. Your silence speaks louder than any words ever could. Anger is a natural emotion. It's okay to feel it, but what's important is what you do with it. When you give in to that anger, when you let it drive your response, you're allowing someone else's behavior to control your emotions. You're allowing them to take your peace, your focus, your energy. But when you stay silent, you choose a different path. You decide that you're not going to give them that power. You decide that your peace is too valuable to be disturbed by anyone's words or actions. Think about this for a second. When you get angry and lash out, what happens? Do you feel better? Does it resolve anything? More often than not, it only makes the situation worse. It escalates things. It creates more tension, and in the end, you've wasted your time and energy, and you've only fed into the disrespect. But when you stay calm, when you don't react out of anger, you maintain control. You refuse to be dragged into the drama. You rise above it. Here's the thing. You don't need to fight every battle. You don't need to engage in every argument. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. There's power in letting go. There's strength in walking away. And there's nothing more powerful than choosing to remain silent in the face of disrespect. When you choose silence, you're sending a message, not just to the person who disrespected you, but to yourself as well. You're saying, I am in control of my emotions. I am not going to let anyone else take my peace. I'm bigger than this situation. I'm stronger than their words. I'm not going to allow this to affect me. In fact, choosing silence often leaves the person who disrespected you more rattled than any comeback ever could. When you don't give them the reaction they were hoping for, when you don't engage in their negativity, they're left with nothing. They're left without the power they were seeking. And you walk away knowing that you didn't let them get the best of you. You walk away with your dignity intact, your peace unshaken, and your focus still on your goals. This is about not giving anyone else the power to dictate your emotional state. You have the power to choose how you feel, how you respond, and how you move forward. And when you make the conscious decision to stay silent, to walk away from the negativity, you're taking that power back. You're not letting anyone else's actions control your happiness or your progress. And let me be clear, silence isn't weakness. It's not about being afraid or backing down. It's about being smart. It's about choosing your peace over the chaos. It's about knowing that there are bigger things at play than some small moment of disrespect. It's about understanding that your emotional state is more important than any reaction you could have. Silence is strength. It's a choice. It's you taking control. Every time you stay silent in the face of disrespect, you're teaching others how to treat you. You're teaching them that you won't tolerate disrespect, but you also won't engage in the drama. You're teaching them that your peace is non-negotiable. And more importantly, you're teaching yourself that you have the strength to rise above, that you have the emotional intelligence to choose peace over conflict. So when someone disrespects you, remember this, you don't need to react. You don't need to engage. Then you don't need to prove anything. You just need to stay calm, stay silent, and rise above it. When you choose silence, you're choosing your peace. You're choosing control. You're choosing strength. And that's the power you can carry with you every single day. You see, when you choose to stay silent in the face of disrespect, you're not just keeping your peace in the moment. You're building a foundation for your future. Every time you choose to walk away instead of engaging in negativity, you're setting yourself up for success. This decision, this small moment of restraint speaks volumes about who you are and where you're headed. It shows that you're not going to let anyone or anything stop you from reaching your full potential. In fact, it's in those quiet moments of restraint that you begin to lay the groundwork for everything you want in life. When you stay quiet after being disrespected, you're demonstrating that you understand something very important. Not every battle needs to be fought. Not every insult requires a response. The reality is, engaging with disrespect takes time, energy, and focus. And when you're constantly trying to prove yourself or fight back against people who have no real interest in understanding you, you're only diverting attention from your goals. You're draining your energy on things that don't serve you. You're losing sight of what really matters. But here's the thing. What really matters is your vision. What really matters is your purpose, your dreams, your ambitions, your goals. These are the things that should be driving you forward every single day. And if you waste your time, your energy, and your emotions on people who don't value or respect you, you're taking your focus off those things. You're letting the small stuff distract you from the big picture. Every time you remain silent, you reinforce your focus on the bigger goals in your life. You're saying, I've got a mission, I've got something I'm working toward, and I won't let anyone take me off course. Staying quiet in the face of disrespect is an act of discipline, an act of understanding that some people simply aren't worth your time or energy. It's about choosing to put your attention on the things that will get you closer to your purpose instead of letting someone else's negativity steer you in the wrong direction. Think about the person who has made it to the top. They didn't get there by reacting to every single insult or challenge that came their way. They got there by staying focused. They got there by ignoring the distractions and keeping their eyes on their vision. They chose silence because they understood that their energy was too valuable to waste. They realized that getting involved in every battle wasn't just exhausting, it was counterproductive. It was holding them back. So every time you stay silent, you're building that same discipline. You're practicing the art of focus. You're learning to block out the distractions that will pull you away from your goals. And let me tell you, this is a skill that will serve you for the rest of your life. The more you practice silence in the face of disrespect, the more it becomes second nature. The more you grow in your ability to tune out the noise, to stay focused on what truly matters, the more unstoppable you become. Let's talk about the power of your time. Time is the one thing we all have in limited supply. It doesn't matter how rich you are, how talented you are, or how much influence you have. Time runs out for everyone. And once you waste it, it's gone. It's one of the few things in this world you can't get back. So why would you waste it on anything less than your best? Why would you give it to someone who doesn't respect you? Why would you allow someone's negativity to take away from the time you have to build your future, to reach your goals, to create the life you want? When you choose silence, you're protecting your time. You're saying, my time is too valuable to be spent on this. You're redirecting that energy toward what matters, towards your vision, towards your personal growth, toward the things that will move you forward. Every moment you spend focusing on disrespect or negativity is a moment you could have spent working on your goals. Every minute you waste trying to prove yourself is a minute you're not investing in your future. And that's a cost you can't afford. But here's the key. When you start protecting your time, protecting your energy, protecting your peace by staying silent, you start to notice something incredible. You start to see how much more you can accomplish. You see how much more you can grow. You see how much more focused you become, how much clearer your path is. And that, my friend, is where the real growth happens. Every time you choose silence, you're teaching yourself that you can rise above the noise. You're reinforcing the idea that you're in control of your own journey. And nothing, no person, no disrespect, no challenge is going to knock you off course. You're building strength, resilience, and an unshakable focus on the things that truly matter. And that's what will lead you to the success, to the life, to the future you're working for. You see, the more you stay quiet, the stronger you become. The more you choose peace over conflict, the more disciplined you become in keeping your focus on the things that really count. And that discipline, that focus, is what separates those who succeed from those who are constantly distracted, constantly fighting battles that don't matter. So when you stay silent in the face of disrespect, remember, you're not just holding your ground in the moment. You're building your future one silent victory at a time. When you decide to stay quiet after being disrespected, you're not just walking away from the situation. You're stepping into a place of power that others can't understand. You're choosing to align yourself with a deeper sense of self-worth and integrity. It's easy to think that responding to disrespect is the way to stand up for yourself, to fight for your dignity. But the truth is, the most powerful statement you can make is often made in silence. That silence speaks volumes, not just to the person disrespecting you, but also to yourself. You are saying, I know my worth, and I don't need to prove it to anyone. You see, people who disrespect you are often looking for a reaction. They want to see if they can get under your skin, if they can disrupt your peace. But when you remain silent, you deny them that satisfaction. You don't give them the emotional reaction they're hoping for. In that silence, you show your strength. You show that you have control over your emotions. You show that their words or actions don't define you. And in that moment, you take back your power. It's important to understand that disrespect is not about you. It's about the person who disrespects you. Their actions are a reflection of their character, not yours. When someone disrespects you, It's not an attack on your worth. It's an attack on their own integrity. They're the ones who are revealing something about themselves, not you. So why should you lower yourself to engage in their drama to give them the satisfaction of pulling you into their negativity? Why should you let their lack of respect dictate your actions or your emotional state? Remaining silent doesn't mean you're passive or weak. In fact, it's the opposite. It takes strength to stay composed when someone is trying to provoke you. It takes emotional intelligence to understand that their disrespect is not a reflection of you, but of them. And it takes courage to walk away from a situation without feeling the need to justify yourself, to argue, or to engage in conflict. You're saying, I don't need to argue to know I'm valuable. I don't need to defend myself because my value's already set. Now, let's talk about something crucial here. When you engage with disrespect, when you respond with anger or frustration, you're giving away your energy. You're allowing someone else's negativity to hijack your focus, your peace, your time, and in doing so, but when you stay silent, you take control of that moment. You don't let anyone else dictate your emotional state. You make the decision that your peace is more important than any insult or hurtful comment. When you choose silence, you also give yourself the opportunity to reflect. You give yourself space to evaluate the situation, to think about the best course of action instead of reacting impulsively. Sometimes it's not about having a quick comeback or making a point in the moment. It's about understanding that some situations don't require your input. The situation will pass, and when it does, the only thing that will matter is how you respond, not how you reacted. By staying silent, you create an inner strength that others can't take from you. You build emotional resilience, the ability to weather the storms that life throws at you without letting them break you down. When you don't respond to disrespect, when you don't let it alter your course, you become unshakable. You become someone who is grounded in their values and their sense of self and in their purpose. Think about the people who truly inspire you. Do they react to every negative comment or insult thrown their way? No, they keep their eyes on their vision. They're focused on their goals. They know that engaging in every little drama will only distract them from what truly matters. They understand that their energy is too valuable to waste on negativity. And that's what you have to learn to do. Protect your energy, protect your peace. Keep your focus on what's important and let everything else fall away. When you stay silent after being disrespected, you also teach others how to treat you. People will start to recognize that you won't engage in their games. You won't stoop to their level. And that sends a strong message. I'm not the one to mess with. You show them that you're someone who values their peace, their time, and their integrity. And when people see that you're not willing to tolerate disrespect, they'll start to respect you, not out of fear, but out of admiration for your strength and composure. Now, it's crucial to understand that staying silent doesn't mean you're accepting the disrespect. It doesn't mean you're letting people walk all over you. It means you're choosing a different approach, a more powerful approach. You're choosing to stand tall without engaging in petty conflict. You're choosing to rise above it. Silence is not submission, it's strength. It's an active decision to protect your peace and your emotional well-being. The reality is, life will always bring people who try to undermine you, who try to tear you down with their words or actions. But it's in how you respond, or rather how you don't respond, that shows who you really are. You're not defined by the insults thrown your way. You're defined by your ability to stay calm, composed, and focused on your mission. And when you master the art of staying silent in the face of disrespect, you are not just protecting yourself in that moment, you are paving the way for your future success, your growth, and your happiness. So every time someone disrespects you, remember, silence is your strength. It's your way of showing that you won't let anyone take your peace, your energy, or your focus. Stay silent and let your actions speak louder than any words ever could.